Three, two. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of CampusCare EdTalks, a platform so exclusive where the stalwarts of education come on board to express their viewpoints on burning topics curbing the education fraternity. Before I begin, let me quickly introduce you to Entab. We are a 20-year-old IT company engaged in providing matured and futuristic school ERP, CRM, and mobile apps to the various schools spread across India. And we help transform them from good schools to the best schools. So today in Campus Care Ed Talks, we will indulge in a brief session with our guest speakers and learn what are the best practices in experiential learning. How can a student achieve his or her desirable goals with the help of experiential learning? Is it much more applicable for kinesthetic students or for auditory and visual students as well? With the advancement of modern technology, experiential learning has been encouraged more than usual. However, I have been into discussions in the past where it has been pointed out by many educators that experiential learning is not a new thing. It has been going on since the days our gurukuls were there. Without further delay, let me quickly introduce you to our for the day. Our first guest is Miss Anita Nanda ma'am, and she's the founder principal of Lala Jagat Narain DAV Model School City, Jalandhar. And for the last 20 years, ma'am has dedicated her entire life for education. She has attended many conferences at the international and national level, and owing to her remarkable contributions to the education fraternity, she has been recognized by various platforms for an innovative approach towards the betterment and upliftment of education. Please welcome Miss Anita Nanda ma'am. Anita ma'am, welcome on board.
Uh, It's first time I would like to say thank you very much for raising me, and I'm the founder principal of the school for the last 28 years.
Oh ma'am, I'm so sorry I skipped 1 year. So 28 years, ma'am.
And another thing is that you want to have my opinion about the experiential learning. So that I would say that it's a process. And so first part of the process is that planning part is very, very important. First, all the teachers who are teaching to that very class, they have to sit together for the planning. I would be sharing one example of experiential learning planning with you so that everything may be clear to everyone.
Mhm.
So, suppose I told you that we were selecting a chapter from class 5th, and this chapter was on climate change. So, when all the teachers they are sitting together and they are deciding that how they have to make the child experience this concept climate change, that how this can be integrated with other subjects also. It's because in English, the students they can perform role play activity. They would write the script. They would learn new words. In art, they would prepare the mass of. I will tell you that the role which will be assigned to them. Suppose through this penguin cartoon activities,
Mhm.
we are presenting it, and the students they are wearing the mask of penguins, wearing different colored ribbons, and they are learning whether their art will be improved, their communication skill will be improved, they will prepare a model on air pollution, so they will have knowledge of science also. They will learn many new things when they are experiencing this concept. So experiential learning means doesn't mean that it is focusing on one subject, so we have to integrate other subjects also. And the most important part of the planning is on the part of the teachers, that how they have to introduce the subject to the concept to the student. Suppose I am telling you that just quoting the one example of one chapter, climate change. So in the introduction part, we presented the theme of the lesson in a cartoon film to the students. We prepared our own cartoon film, though we selected some other links from the YouTube and from the Google also, but we know that what type of that how we have to make that chapter, the concept of that chapter clear to the student. So we prepared that cartoon animated films ourselves using the app. And the students were very happy to see that cartoon film. And the language, very simple and clear language was used there, which they enjoyed. And now they knew that what sort of role plays they have to present, because that cartoon film was also presented in four phases. And after that, we gave them some links of YouTube to the students, and therein we divided the class in groups, and their role was, whatever they had to perform, it was made clear to them that this group, they have to present the role play, that how what changes are happening on the earth because of the climate change. And the other group was assigned a task that now they have to present role play, that why all this is happening, why it is happening. And the third group was given the topic that how they will how the human beings can control it, the climate change which is happening. So the fourth group, that they were just asked to observe what these three groups are doing. They are just noting down what these three groups are doing. So it was done in phases. And the students, they prepared very beautiful masks. They had written the script of the role play, they presented it, and then they shared their experiences, that how they have learned now today about this topic in an interesting way. So students enjoyed all this. And after that, home assignment was given to them, that they can prepare model on air pollution. So it was, very good learning experience for the students. They really felt very, very happy, and shared with us that, this is, different from other, monotonous classroom teaching, and they have enjoyed this activity very much. So this is just one example I have shared with you, and you can put any other question to me also regarding it.
Absolutely, ma'am, and I'm sure it would have been a wonderful experience by your students. All right, so moving forward, our next guest of the day is none other than Dr. Parminder Kaur. She's the principal of the Paradise International Senior Secondary School, Punjab, and is an efficient leader who has her visions and goals set to uplift the education system. Over the long years, ma'am has attended several workshops on topics like energy efficiency, energy conservation, organized by Punjab Energy Development Agency, PIDA. Please welcome Dr. Parminder Kaur, ma'am. Welcome on board, ma'am. Ma'am, you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you very much for providing me with this opportunity to interact with intellectuals like you and the other panelists also. So it's my second experience with you as a like panelist over here. And today's topic, experiential learning and its benefits. That is really a great topic. And I would love to hear from others also, and would love to share my views as well. And hopefully I'll carry something best out of this, and all the viewers will also get something new from this. And let's hope to see in further, we
Ma'am,
can
your
say, talks.
humbleness, I'll be very honest, ma'am. Every time, whenever we talk, your humbleness just blows my mind away. How can somebody be so humble and so receptive towards it?
Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
ma'am, I'll go to you only. And, ma'am, as uh, like I said, mentioned in the introduction as well, that why experiential learning is being focused now. हमारे टाइम पे क्या था? What has
Sir,
changed?
it was not like this. And earlier times there was no experiential learning, and now only the scenario has changed. No, the things are going on from the past as well, but yes, few names, few scenes they have changed. So basically, what is experiential learning? It's learning while doing. So in earlier gurukuls, madrasas, and all, the children used to do different type of activities to learn few concepts. But as the time changed, the people shifted to rote learning just to gather more and more marks.
Hmm.
And the education became more influenced or more inclined towards getting more marks rather than getting more knowledge. So that's why what we can see nowadays, being school leaders, we can see around us, the people, they have got degrees, all sorts of degrees are with them, but they don't have enough of the knowledge to dissipate to the others. So, learning through experience is hands on learning where the learner has got an active role. So it's not that drastically different from the things which earlier were going on and which now, but only the scenes have changed. And in this pandemic also, and in all these from past all these months, so what all have learned, what we have experienced, we have learned a lot. Everyone, may it be a child, may it be a student, may it be a teenager, may it be an adult, we all have learned through the experiences. And this is what we as school leaders wants to collaborate in our classroom teaching. We want to integrate these things in a classroom teaching. Every child should get an opportunity to express himself or herself, and he should actively become a classroom leader, you can say, so that all the things can be experienced by everyone and more outcomes come out of it.
Wonderful. Yeah, see, in fact, I just had this conversation with few other educators as well day before yesterday, and everybody mentioned that especially Indian education system, our gurukuls and everything, they have been a part of in experiential learning. But do you think after British came to India, there was some sort of assembly line process which was made ki okay, now we require clerks and admins to do our chores, and that's why our education system is heavily influenced by that particular scenario. Anita ma'am, over to you. I would.
Yes,
Yes ma'am.
yes. You are absolutely right that English system, English education system, when it was introduced, they had their sole aim to produce clerks only. They didn't want Indians to have leadership qualities. And with the passage of time, we realize that our education system is becoming redundant, and it should be more practical. And to make it more practical, so some changes are required. And during this pandemic, CBSE has introduced many new things that they have focused on learning outcome. Though these things were earlier there also, but not so much focused. Those were there, but now the proper planning part is there. Now the principals have been trained that how they have to focus on the learning outcome of the children, and so how those can be designed, and what sort of activities can be designed to develop those qualities amongst the students. So this phase has given us the time and the opportunities to ponder over a little more on it, though these things were going on in the classrooms earlier also, but not in so planned way. Now the planning part is improved, that the principals have been guided to improve the planning part first, so that the whatever they are executing in the classroom or with the students, they are going there with their own planning, and they know that how in sequence wise they have to perform it, and they have to take out the outcome of the students. And they must also know that what area of the child is weak and what area of the child is strong, and how the weak areas can further be strengthened.
Right. Right. That's absolutely that's actually brilliant insight to how to practically approach towards it. So moving forward, ma'am, according to you and keeping taking cue from what Anita ma'am said right now, Parminder ma'am, what activities do you think as a leader of the school you would personally undertake to indulge students in experiential learning at your school?
Yeah, this is right. So different types of activities we are planning, teachers are planning. So to indulge the children, it is basically this experiential learning. It is interdisciplinary approach.
Hmm.
We don't think it is totally different from that compartmentalized learning. Okay, in maths period, only maths need to be taught. In social sciences period, only social sciences aspect is there. So it is an integrated approach. So as ma'am has said earlier, all the teachers of that particular section, they need to sit together and plan the process accordingly so that multidisciplinary outcomes can be there. So children, they can be given a chance for themselves so that they can reflect their thoughts, their emotions. They should create a self awareness. They should work for their self improvement and, more importantly, their self evaluation. What we used to do in our school, so this is by learning, by doing, that are all things which are already going on everywhere. But different we used to we do, we I always tell the children to write a diary for yourself, for self analytic purpose, daily. Okay, these things I have done today, these are my learning outcomes, these things I have been set aback, I am unable to understand, and these things I need to improve. They need to introspect themselves, okay, what they are doing. Then they have to maintain their own portfolios. Then they have to gradually see their own progress. Suppose in a week, in the beginning of the week, they were, you can say, having full knowledge about five concepts, and at the end of the week they are having knowledge about two more concepts, and that also, and they can be able to teach that in the class. That program, what we have named, is I teach.
Mm.
What I learned, and is it, am I able to deliver that to the class also? That is I teach. Firstly, they deliver the things in the class. Okay, this is the concept I have understood, let us all understand this. Then we have given them a task. Okay, go at home and try to teach this concept firstly to your parents and then anybody to your neighborhood. This is I teach program, and this is very effectively working. It helps in improving the confidence of a child, helps in improving the vocabulary skills, and you can say helps in clarity of the concept as well. So these type of little activities we have designed so that the children are able to grasp the concept rather than they simply mud it out and jot it down on the paper.
Absolutely wonderful, ma'am. And taking cue from the, I guess it is taking cue from the famous quote of Benjamin Franklin that involve me and I'll learn, and I'll never
Yeah.
forget the moment you
Yes.
involve me into learning. Wonderful. So, Anita, ma'am, over to you. Would you like to talk about how do you personally measure the effectiveness of experiential learning at your school? Because that's also very important. Uh,
Yeah.
if we understand that, okay, fine, experiential learning is there, but then how do you do the assessment related to it? Because everybody has a different standard of learning.
Yeah, very much right. There's then before starting the activity or before teaching the concept to the students, again I say that the role of the teacher is very very important. She has to share the success criteria with the students. She has to share that they will learn this concept and they have to perform this and they will be adjudged on the basis of this. For this part, suppose they are presenting, I just giving one example, that suppose they are presenting the role play. For the presentation of the script, they will be given 3 marks. For the correctness of this their acting and their delivering of language and you may say expression, they will be given 3 marks. And for 4 marks they for their confidence and for the presentation. So there it is to again I tell you that it is in the parts. The teacher has to share that for what part they will be given how many marks, so that they may come to know that where they are getting good marks and where they are getting low marks, and which areas of theirs are strong and which areas of theirs are weak, so that teacher may guide them after this activity. And this can happen only if the teacher will be sharing the success criteria with the students before the start of the activity, that this how they will be assessed, and this will be the assessment criteria. You will be assessed on the basis of this.
Okay. So yeah, that's a wonderful approach, ma'am. कि पहले ही बता दो.
Hmm.
That's a wonderful
One
approach.
thing, one thing I need to add, but
Yes,
is that we have to form a baseline.
benchmark
Okay,
basically.
this is the baseline while assessing a child. So this is the baseline, and if a class is divided into two groups, one group has to assess others. The teacher should act as a moderator or a facilitator rather than to act as a judge. So the peers, they would decide. They have just compared them with this baseline. If they are this much up on the upper side of the baseline, they would get this type of, you can say, ranking or stars. We give them stars like 1 star, 2 star, 3 stars. Or if they are comparing their performance with each other, then they come to know where we are lagging behind, where the other group is better than us, and they intend to work towards that, so that it involves a competitive spirit as well, and they just go into the things, okay, yes, next time we would be trying to perform better than this group.
Right. Wonderful, ma'am. So, of course, standards and benchmarks have to be there in order to ascertain
Yeah, of
uh,
course.
what would be the parameter and what would be the basis they would be judged upon. That's absolutely perfect, and that's actually a very practical approach. So, uh, being taking a practical approach, what do you think, Parminder ma'am, would be the stumbling blocks when we approach experiential learning? What would be the hurdles?
Actually, everything which we go, which we do, which we start, everything has some hurdles in it. So here also there are different type of students in the class. Few are very passive ones. They don't even want to express, or they are unable to express themselves in front of others. And second thing is, sometimes it comes from the part of parents as well. They just want proper marks of their child. Out of 100, a child is scoring this, and with this only they can judge the performance. And it takes some patience, some time to just tell them, okay, it's not important. The marks or the positions in the class, they are not important. The important is concept clarity, what a child is doing. So it would help that. But still, their mindsets are there. And mindset, I think, of a child, of a teacher, of a parent, that is the basic stumbling block in all this. So to change the mindset, to convince them to that level, that is the biggest challenge for a teacher, for a school leader as well. But I feel personally.
Anita ma'am, what about you?
Of course, what Parminder ji is saying is right. That's why I say that that to cover up that we are deciding the parameters. That this part will have this much of grade. You can divide it in the form of grades or in the form of marks to satisfy the parents. That's because they must not think like this, that we are just wasting the time and the child is not doing anything in the school. And we can prepare the logbook of the child. We can write the anecdotal record of the child, because small student, for primary students, the teacher will have to work a lot. At senior level, the students can write their portfolio themselves also. And similarly, that's why I say that if we will be dividing the activity for different parameters, and then suppose I say that the child is preparing PowerPoint presentation on a topic. So again, we are setting the parameters. The child is knowing that for this particular part he will be getting this grade, for this particular mark is getting this grade. Of course, if that approach can be used, that students, them as one group is a which is observing the whole activity. He is having the experience in the written form, that what the other group is performing, and they can rate themselves also instead of on the part of the teacher. But even then, the teacher has to guide themselves. And if it will be done, I think the parents will be satisfied if the logbook of the students will be shown to them.
Yes, ma'am. And as a leader of the school, ma'am, um, we have spoken about what would be the stumbling blocks, and then what was the past, whether it's a new concept or it's an old concept. So I would like to, and I'm sure my viewers would like to know what would be the future related to it. How do you envision it, Anita, ma'am?
Sir, I feel that if the teacher is making his or her applying in a very proper way, and using innovative ideas to make the concept interesting. I think the students will, they will also show the same type of interest in that type of activities. So because in this experiential learning, we are dividing the class in groups, and in groups we can we can divide the students. Some are, we can select like this, that one intelligent, one average, one below average. All these students are sitting together to write their experiences, what they are learning, because at the main part of this experiential learning is that students are sharing after the completion of the activity. They are sharing the stages, that what the teacher had shown to them and what they have, because research and exploring is very very important at this stage. So what the teacher has taught, okay, but the child wants to, she has given the opportunity to the child to do exploring and research on his or her part. So that is more important. The child is getting that opportunity also during this activity, and at the after that research work, he is sharing his experiences with other students, but what more he has learned through this activity. And when everybody is sharing their experiences in the classroom, they are learning from each other. Then they are writing the portfolio if they are of senior level. At primary level, the teacher can write the logbook herself or himself. So I think that this can have a very good future, and it can develop all the qualities, all the skills in a child, if we are doing it in a proper planned way.
Parminder ma'am, what about you? Do you think, since we understand that it also caters to the kinesthetic students, do you think this would be, or something out of this would come for the future?
Actually, see, the future of this generation, it lies in the conceptual learning, your knowledge, what you have. So, see, in multinationals also, when people are employed, what they judge, they see your marks, they see your basic qualification and keep it aside. Then they see your mental ability. And now in the board examinations also, there are questions, especially in all the subjects CBSE has introduced regarding the reasonings, assertions, conceptual knowledge, case studies, and all. So these are not the questions which can be answered through rote learning from the pages of the book. These are only to be they can only be answered when the child has got a conceptual knowledge, and conceptual knowledge is only possible when a child experiences those things. So in the future, this is going to help a lot if a child is being involved in this type of learning from the early stages of his or her life. So these are going to be a long way, and it would be a welcoming step for the teacher, for the children, for the parents as well. And they would see the results very soon if the things go on in a very planned and in a proper way.
Absolutely. So I guess Parminder ma'am and Anita ma'am, it's instead of experiential learning, it will all be about conceptual learning as well as blended with experiential learning.
Very
So
well. Yeah.
that's absolutely a brilliant idea, and basically anything can be an experiential learning. Like we can learn things from our Mali as well. That can
Yeah.
be,
Of course.
and that horticulture can be learned as an experiential learning, right?
Very
Yes.
My
well.
driver can train me how to fix an engine, and that will be automobile experiential learning.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct. So thank you so much for coming on board on EdTalks, Campus Care EdTalks, and share your valuable insights. And I'm sure my listeners would had so much to gain. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you and hosting you for this webinar. I hope you had a wonderful time, and thank you for providing me your valuable and precious time.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
Thank
much,
you
ma'am.
so much. Thank you. And it was nice meeting
overwhelmed.
Nanda also.
And
And
thank
I'm just meeting her for the first time and hope to continue for this association afterwards also.
thank you.
And
Absolutely,
to
ma'am.
learn from such great scholars, that is always a good experience. Thank you, and TAP, for providing us with this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming on.